I've written for more than 1,000 days in a row, and these are the 7 life lessons that I've taken with me. And before we dive in, I wanted to give you some background. And this all started when I read the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, which talks a lot about habit formation and how to become productive over time. And during this time, I wanted to take my writing a bit more seriously. I had just launched my debut novel, The Escape, in Sweden, and I thought that, I want, this is what I want to do. I want to write, but to be able to have a career as a writer, you need to write quite a few books. So I had decided that I wanted to take writing more seriously, and then I read Atomic Habits. I also read some other book that suggested that writing every day is really good for, for a bunch of different reasons. And I wanted to give it a try. So I decided to put the alarm clock on half an hour earlier than I usually do and get up and just try for 66 days. And the reason why I chose 66 days is because James Clear suggests in the book that it takes about 66 days to form a new habit. And, waking up half an hour earlier, it actually wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. I thought it would be a lot harder. I started doing it. I started waking up, showing up for myself as a writer each and every single day. And after around 60 days, you know what? I felt so good by being in the flow of writing that I started to wake up 1 hour before work. And this journey with just trying for 66 days, this is actually what inspired my book, The 66-Day Writing Challenge, which has a writing prompt for 66 days if you don't have a manuscript that you can follow and write. But I encourage each and every single one of you writers to try to write each and every single day. And you can choose for how long you're going to write and what you're going to do. For me, in the beginning, it was important to have a certain amount of time that I had to write. But nowadays, I write, I don't have a time. I don't have an amount of words I need to get through. I just say that I need to write each and every single day because now I've done it for so long that I know I need to do it, and it's so ingrained in my life and in everything. So, on days when I have had the flu or when I have a lot of things to do, which still is very rarely, I rarely push away writing. But on those days, sometimes I only have 15 minutes to write, and that's fine because other days I'll have 2-3 hours. But enough about that. Let's dive into the 7 life lessons that I learned from writing each and every single day. The first lesson is maybe the most important one, and this is the fact that writing each and every single day made me feel like an author. This was the first time that I, stopped listening to the inner critic, when I stopped thinking that I couldn't do it. Since I was writing each and every single day, I was writing on a regular basis, I felt like an author. I felt like a writer. And this made a huge change for me and mentally to grow into the person I am today. And that is something for you to take with you. If you think, oh no, but I'm just an aspiring author. If you're writing, you're an author. You don't have to be published yet. You're still an author. You're still a writer just because you write. And that was a huge mindset shift for me. James Clear also talks about this in his book. He says that if you identify yourself as a person who is a writer, then you will be like, okay, but what does a writer do? They make sure they have time to write. Or if you identify as a healthy person, then you will by default make sure to make healthier choices when it comes to food and exercise. So try to have that in mind. If you have doubts about yourself, try to become the person, try to live as the person you want to become. Lesson number 2 is the fact that I learned how I write. So writing each and every single day, I had spreadsheets where I tracked my writing. And if you want my spreadsheet for writing a novel where I track, how much I write, I put my deadlines and everything, subscribe to my Substack and you will get it in the welcome email. But the thing that was so interesting is that now I know how long it takes for me to write the first draft of an entire novel. I know how much I write on average each and every single hour. I know how much time I need for editing. I know how I best plan my books when it comes to outlining. All of these things are things that I've learned because of the fact that I've written on a regular basis and written each and every single day. And I would never have had the opportunity to learn all of this if I didn't make time for my writing. And, I even took a gap year from work to focus on my writing and get back to university. I took a few classes in writing, just focused on it for a year. And that's why I have so many manuscripts that are ready now to get published. Now I'm back at work and I work full time again. But I still, I know myself as an author and I know what I need and how I work with my manuscripts, which is really good. Lesson number 3 is the fact that it's not always fun to write. I mean, in the beginning, it was a lot of fun, but then at some point you will hit a plateau where you don't feel like you're becoming better and stuff like that, but you need to push through it. And with everything that you do, like at work, there are days when work isn't fun, when the day job isn't fun. The same comes with writing, but you need to push through it. I pushed through it. And the thing is, when I look back at the things I wrote on the harder days when it wasn't as much fun, I can barely tell which ones I wrote on a good day or on a bad day, because it doesn't matter. This is something I want to do long term and for a living. So I treated it a bit more professional, to be honest. And that's a big life lesson, that if it's something you want to do professionally, treat it like a profession. Life lesson number 4 is the fact that when I started writing every day, I shared it on social media, I shared it on a bunch of places, and I got to know a lot more writers. I don't know, for me, it came very naturally that I made a lot of friends within the writing and reading community. I've made friends online on, social media platforms. I've made friends on book events, on writing conferences. I've made friends from NaNoWriMo, and now I have a community of writers and of readers around me, which I can reach out to whenever I need to, whenever I need a boost, or whenever I have doubts, or whenever I just want to sit down at a coffee shop and write with a friend. I know who to turn to because I have a community of writers and of people around me. And I think that writing each and every single day is why I found them, because writing each and every single day was so lonely sometimes that I started to look for friends that all or had the same interests as I did. Lesson number 5 is the fact that habits feed other habits. And for me, this meant that I had to find a way to stay motivated, long term. For 1,000 days in a row, I needed to, as soon as I wake up, or sometime during my morning routine before my day job, I need to switch on my writing brain and be productive for around an hour. And to do that, I have built, I've done something called habit stacking, where I have habits that support my productivity and that work for me, that I've tried over the years to make sure that I found something that worked for me. So for me to be able to be as productive as possible, I meditate for 15 minutes each and every single morning. Then I write my morning pages, and after that I have some black coffee and I write. Sometimes I put on a do not disturb app on my phone so I can't reach social media and stuff like that. Sometimes I don't have to do that. But for me, it's so important to just have a slow, mindful morning and then sit down and write. I can't go on TikTok. I can't hang out on YouTube. I can't do a bunch of other things, because then I will be so, my brain will run away to other things. So I will not be in the story. So that was really interesting for me to find which habits feeds what. And I also, now I know myself so well that I know that when I'm stuck or when I'm at a certain point where I don't know what to do in my manuscript, I'll go for a run or I'll go for a walk. because then my head will clear and I will figure out a solution. I also know that I need regular exercise for my brain to work for, in a good way. And yeah, habits like the habit of writing has made me a better person in a lot of aspects of my life, to be honest. Lesson number 6 is how to get disciplined and focused. And here, everyone's different, but for me, I'm a morning person, so I have a lot more focus in the mornings. I know this about myself, but I also know that I love social media. It's like sugar for my brain, so I can't look at social media before I start writing. I know that to be able to focus, right now I'm in a period of time where I love to have on some sort of ambient music and maybe some clips from Hogwarts Legacy on my separate screen, and then I sit and write, and it's super cozy. I will light a candle and make life a little bit more beautiful, a little bit more aesthetic and nice and cozy. And it's so nice to sit and write like that. And it helps me focus because I will be calm. I will be in the story. And, I've read a lot of books on focus and discipline, and you need to find your way to find focus, but also remember that you have to shut out everything else, like all the background noise. This means turn off, maybe to even turn off the Wi-Fi on your laptop, turn off all notifications on your phone. Tell your partner that you're going to write for 2 hours and that you don't want to be disturbed, except for them bringing you more coffee. That's okay. But like, let the world know that you take the time to focus and see what happens. Because I don't know if you know this, but I work in an office as a professional digital marketer, and I do this at my job as well. I will turn off all the notifications, put everything on silence, and go into focus mode when I need to do hard tasks and analyze data and stuff like that. Because that way I will get through the tasks so much faster than if I would have like scatter focus. And there's an entire science about this. So, remember that it's okay to say no. You don't need if it's super important, the people will call you. You don't need to look who commented on your Instagram when you're writing, because it's not important. You don't need to send that meme on TikTok to someone just because you thought about it. You can do it later. So yeah, finding a way to be more disciplined and be more focused has really helped me improve my writing so much. And the last and probably the most important lesson of them all is the fact that writing each and every single day has had such a huge impact on my career as an author. I just launched the Library of Eternity in Swedish, and I would never have been able to do that without having a rigorous writing routine, without, me writing so much has made me, I tried self-publishing, the 66-day writing challenge, and that taught me a lot about the publishing business. But it also made sure that I had actually, the capabilities to publish the Library of Eternity in Swedish on the deadline that had been set, despite everything that happened with my old publisher. And if you missed that, I will link the video about why I decided to end the my traditional publishing deal. I will link that video in the description box. But I've written so many books that I could never have written this fast if I didn't write on a regular basis. And, it made me take the leap of faith to take some time off from work to focus on my writing. And I think that this has boosted my author career so much. We will see in the long run how much, but I love it, and I'm so thankful and happy that I chose to do this. And if you're thinking about doing it, just do it. There is nothing holding you back. And I know that sometimes it can be hard, life happens, and finding the time to write might be hard, but it's your life and you need to choose what's important to you. And you don't just choose this by saying it, you choose it by doing it. So if writing is important to you, then spend less time on social media, or, watch less TV series. You need to prioritize what you do with your time, because we only have so much time in a day. And I want to spend some of my time each and every single day writing. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And I love creating stuff, so I'm going to continue to do that. And I hope that this video inspired you in some way, and that you find a way to write on a regular basis. I post videos each and every single week about writing and about how I try to accelerate my career as an author. So let me know in the comments what you want me to make a video about in the future, and I will see you next week. Bye.